The tale unfolds in a flat in Seoul City, where a TV broadcast interrupts with urgent news. The much-anticipated shareholder meeting of Samon Group, one of the nation's top 3 conglomerates, has wrapped up after 13 grueling hours of debate. The outcome is clear: John Song-guk has been named the next chairman. Unlike prior third-generation heirs who stumbled amid scandals or mismanagement, Song has clinched his role with an impeccable track record. Hearing the proclamation, Song erupts into laughter, fully savoring the triumph. Years of hard work, ceaseless studying, disciplined workouts, international schooling, and reigning in his wild siblings, have paid off. He navigated his uncle's blunders and upheld a meticulously polished public persona, even managing his arranged marriage flawlessly. With all pieces aligning, his ascent to dominance feels unstoppable. Clutching a glass of his preferred drink, he basks in his success, declaring this the dawn of a fresh era. Determined to purge Samon of its old baggage, his initial move is to oust Janae GCK's loyalists, those he can't stand. But before he can proceed, a sharp sting pierces his chest. His hold falters, sending his phone and drink smashing to the ground. Gasping for air, he crumples, his sight dimming as it lands on a framed photo of his grandfather, Samon Group's founder. It hits him: his grandfather, too, fell to a heart attack. Fear surges, yet he rejects the notion that he, so mighty and vital, could succumb to something so mundane. Still, no matter how fiercely he resists, darkness swallows him. Moments later, a newborn's wails pierce the silence. The scene shifts to a joyful couple gazing tenderly at their infant, who is none other than Song, now encased in a frail baby's form. Shock and bewilderment flood him as the truth dawns, unleashing frantic sobs. His mind spins with one question: what in the world is going on? The next morning, the focus turns to the baby's mother, Kim So-young, who admires her child with pride. She glances at her husband, John Gong, and comments on their son's striking looks. Gong nods, even likening him to celebrity infants. So-young coos to the baby, saying he's fortunate to have been born so handsome. But the child, John Song in disguise, silently fumes at the remark. Frustration mounts as he grapples with his plight. His chiseled 183 centimeters frame, 75 kilograms of honed muscle, capable of lifting 500 in a big 3, is gone. His family's prestige, his spotless career, and his reign as Samon's king have evaporated. Instead, he's now a powerless infant in what seems an average home. Just yesterday, he toasted his victory with fine wine. Now, he's ensnared in this bizarre twist. His thoughts halt as his mother coos at him, offering a bottle of milk. The sight of the budget formula repulses him at first, but instinct overrides. His tiny body craves it, and he drinks greedily, unable to fight the primal urge. When he's done, his mother praises his hearty appetite, and his father kisses his cheek. The overwhelming affection unnerves him. This entire ordeal, dying at his peak and waking as a baby, is ludicrous, but what rattles him most is his new parents. Their boundless love and warmth feel alien, almost stifling. Having parents who care is a foreign sensation, shaking him to his core. His mind drifts to his past. His mother drilled self-reliance into him, leaving for work without a glance back. His father demanded he manage his younger siblings, calling it his duty as the eldest. No tenderness, no nurture, just obligations. Lost in these reflections, an odd feeling tightens his chest. Before he can stop it, he's crying again. He quickly tells himself this isn't the time for weakness. His parents, mistaking his tears for tiredness after feeding, assume he's drowsy. He resists the notion: how could he sleep in this chaos? But just as feeding overwhelmed him, sleep proves inescapable in this infant body. His eyes grow heavy, and despite his protests, he dozes off, swearing to tackle it all later. As their baby rests, Gong urges his wife to relax too. She declines, suggesting they stay up together instead. Switching on the TV, she tunes into the news. The report announces bribery allegations against Samon Group's chairman, John Jun. Prosecutors have opened a probe, and Jun himself has appeared for questioning. At those words, Song's eyes fly open. His body, moments ago limp with sleep, jolts awake. He sits up, stunned by the screen. His sudden motion catches his mother's eye. She eagerly tells her husband their baby just sat up alone. But Song ignores her, fixated on the TV, his mind reeling in disbelief. The man on screen is unmistakably his late grandfather. Song edges closer to the television, locked on his grandfather's image. There's no doubt, he recalls this vividly. The year he turned 10, his grandfather faced trial for bribing politicians with apple crates. Rivals, wary of Saman's rising clout, branded it corrupt and bribe-dependent. Song saw it differently. Wealth was strength, and connections were a supreme asset. The idea that anyone could get rich by pinching pennies was a foolish fantasy for the penniless. He remembers pushing his grandfather's wheelchair that day at the prosecution, a staged act for public pity. For Song, it was his grand entrance, proving he was the rightful successor after his grandfather and father. Yet the real danger lurked within, his younger brother, John Thag, who studied abroad but returned with only a drug habit. That smug idiot spent his life vying for Song's spot. Now, Song sees the deeper issue. It's not just being a baby or time travel. His destiny, his role, all he'd built, could be snatched away. Overcome with rage, he wails loudly. Later, his mother approaches with fresh apple juice, but Song, lost in thought, shoves it aside. He can't afford distractions. Concerned by his reaction, she frowns just as her husband arrives home, cheerfully noting his boss gave him leftover meat. He's a chef at a local jockball eatery. Noticing Song's TV fixation, his mother gestures toward him. His father, puzzled, asks if the kid's been glued to the news all day. She explains he cries whenever they switch it off or change channels. Determined to break the cycle, his father steps in with a grin, trying to shift Song's focus. Unimpressed, Song grips his father's finger, his stare insisting the TV stay on. Both parents sigh in defeat. Meanwhile, Song's mind races with urgent priorities. He must gather intel, details on the current state, his grandfather, Saman Group, and, above all, how to reclaim his original body. Before he can act, his mother abruptly kills the TV, insisting he's gone too long without food or rest. Scooping him up, she carries him off. Song resists, tears spilling as he recalls his desperate fight to secure his place as Saman's heir. Was he to lose it all to John? The idea is intolerable. He lunges for the TV again, but his mother soothes him, promising he can watch tomorrow. Worn out, Song relents, drifting off in her arms. He silently notes the odd shifts within him. Perhaps it's the baby form, but his emotions are wild, his thoughts jumbled, and control slips away. Yet when this woman pats him, sleep claims him before he knows it. Watching their son finally rest, his father exhales, wondering if he's been like this all day. His mother admits she's anxious. Song's nearly a year old but hasn't said "Mom" or "Dad," just stares at the news, making her question if she's raising him right. Her husband pulls her into a warm hug, reassuring her that, though they lack wealth, their love for their son is genuine. He insists their child will turn out fine. Days later, Song's frustration peaks. Despite feigning sleep to eavesdrop on the news, he's learned nothing useful. The world rolls on unchanged while he's stuck as a helpless baby. Reality sinks in, his efforts are futile. His mother approaches with a soft smile, noting his disinterest in the TV, and asks if he's done with the news today. Song's given up, there's no use. Lifting him, she suggests a walk to the market for groceries, maybe to see flowers and lift his spirits. Outside, she remarks on the nice weather, her tone warm. The landlord, a young woman heading to work, appears. Song's mother notes she's leaving late. The landlord agrees before departing. Song watches her, mildly intrigued. He hadn't pictured the building's owner so youthful. At the market, his mother chats about prices, excited that bean sprouts are cheap and perfect for a cool soup. To Song, it's irrelevant, his diet's just formula anyway. Resigned to another dull outing, something shifts his focus. Above, at a construction site, an object tumbles from a building in progress. Danger strikes him instantly. Panic grips him and his mother as the object plummets. She shields him with her body as heavy metal debris crashes down. The blow is brutal, blood trickles from her head as she whispers faint comfort to Song before her eyes shut. Nearby, the landlord freezes, horrified. Song, cradled in her arms, stares at her still form, panic seizing him. His mind rejects it. She can't die. Emergency crews rush her to the hospital, reporting a grave head injury from the debris. Time drags, but she stirs awake. Her husband, at her side, sighs in relief. Confused, she seeks Song. He assures her the boy's safe, thanks to her, though he was frantic when she got hurt. Holding Song, she calms him, saying she's okay and just glad he's unharmed. For the first time, Song gazes up at her, emotions surging beyond his grasp. Tears pour as his mind rages. Did she even think how valuable her life was? What if she died? She simply holds him, her warmth wrapping him in solace. Silence lingers until she notices the room, too lavish for their means. Puzzled, she asks her husband about the costly private ward, catching his sheepish look. He pauses briefly before clarifying that she needs total rest, but before she can probe further, her eyes catch a nearby sign, strict bed rest for expectant mothers. The truth hits her unexpectedly, leaving her stunned. As her husband nears, he softly urges her to prioritize healing over the next week, ensuring she recuperates fully before they resume their talk. A nurse steps in, noting that visiting hours are almost up. Song's father nods, readying to go. Before leaving, his wife entrusts Song to him, asking him to look after their little one. On the way home, stepping into the crisp night air, Song's father weighs their choices. A bus could take them back, but the fare poses a problem. It's not too far, so walking might be wiser. Song, absorbing his words, is floored. Could they not even spare change for a bus? By his former standards, this home was downright pitiful. Yet a deeper truth dawns: his father, despite the hardship, labors relentlessly for his family. His mother, without a second thought, had thrown herself in harm's way to shield him. These people, so unlike his past existence, are his family now, his true parents. Deep in reflection, he unwittingly murmurs a single word. His father halts, astonished, then beams broadly as he grasps what's happened. Song has called him Dad for the first time. A week later, the home buzzes with cheer. Song's mother has been released from the hospital, and a modest welcome gathering marks the occasion. His parents glow with delight, their eyes brimming with affection as they dote on Song. His mother fawns over how charming he looks, while his father eagerly concurs, even likening him to star babies. Song, though, is taken aback by their light-hearted demeanor. Inside, irritation simmers as he ponders their focus. They'd scraped by to cover hospital costs, even skipping bus fare to pinch pennies. Every cent mattered. Was this really the moment for a party? Wouldn't it be smarter to skip frivolous costs like a first birthday bash? Yet as that notion lingers, an insight strikes. In his old life, he'd have scolded them, deeming it reckless. Now, he sees it: this is love, pure, priceless love, the kind that risks everything. The past week had offered him time to think, and he'd reached a resolve. His parents, for all their toil, would never break free of poverty. Their earnings barely met daily needs, rendering savings a distant hope. Soon, a crippling economic downturn would loom. This awareness weighs on him, but before he can brood further, a surprise guest arrives. His mother, hearing a tap at the door, opens it to see the landlord. She voices her shock at the visit, and the landlord explains she'd learned of the hospital release and wanted to check in. But that's not all. With a curious look at Song, she asks an odd question: have they ever thought of him as a child actor? Days later, Song and his mother reach the child actor audition site. Scanning the area, Song quietly deems it decent enough. His mother, though, seems uneasy, wondering aloud if coming was a misstep. Song, however, views it as a prime chance. Without pause, she enters the building. A quick flashback recalls the landlord's chat a few days back. She told Song's parents about a big TV ad for a major conglomerate. Her company was casting a key child role, and she felt Song, handsome and seemingly gifted, was a top contender. Back in the moment, Song and his mother linger in the waiting zone. Song buzzes with anticipation, seeing this as his shot at cash. Cameras had trailed him since youth. In his prior life, he'd honed makeup and lens skills early. Auditions were old hat. Sure of himself, he aims to ace it, snag the prize, and reinvest for bigger wins. As he savors these plans, a voice calls out, beckoning them in. Entering the elevator, Song spots a woman with a baby nearby. He bristles as his mother praises the child's cuteness. The nanny with them presents the baby as their young master, but the child's mother snaps back icily, brushing off Song's mother and questioning her presence with a haughty tone. She brags that her son, JWH, will surely triumph. Song takes instant offense, his piercing stare locking onto her. She falters under its weight. Inwardly, Song scorns her lavish outfit, her blatant wealth flex, and how she hauls her nanny like a lackey, a classic, conceited rich wife. Resolved, he swears to crush her kid in the audition. In the audition hall, the process rolls on. Kids are summoned one by one for camera trials, judged on screen presence and their ease under bright lights in a strange setting, a hurdle for most tots. Soon, it's child number 10's turn, Lee Jae-hoi, the haughty woman's son. From afar, another parent IDs her as the wife of Diok Pong Paper's owner. Song recalls the firm as a solid mid-tier outfit and watches keenly to gauge her boy's showing. Jae-hoi is told to smile, but nerves take over. His mother pushes him, but the stress triggers tears. The staff wavers, saying it's tough to proceed with him sobbing. She won't yield, claiming he'll calm soon and begging for more time. With others waiting, the director opts to move on, calling child number 12, John Song-guk. Song's mother sets him gently before the lens. The assistant director cues his start, but before it begins, the rude woman shoves Song's mother aside, insisting on watching. Unruffled, Song seizes the moment to shine. With total poise, he beams a winning smile, instantly hooking the director. Captivated, the director grabs his camera, snapping shots while directing Song through poses. To his amazement, Song nails every cue perfectly. The woman fumes from the sidelines as the director, awestruck, hails Song a natural genius. Overcome with zeal, he greenlights Song's hiring on the spot. Song's mother, reeling from the abrupt call, struggles to catch up. She'd never pegged her son as special, yet here he's dubbed a prodigy. The director steps up, introduces himself, and lauds Song's flair, offering a handshake. He pushes to seal the deal, asking if she has terms in mind. Unsure, she voices doubts about Song's talent. Chuckling, the director admits his eagerness might have rushed things, but he stands firm. Song's got a rare spark. His camera ease and direction following were uncanny, almost like he grasped every word. Song silently agrees, he did. The director gushes about collaborating with Song, but before they can go on, the rude woman explodes, smashing a camera down in a rage. She demands to know what's up. The final round hasn't even happened, yet it feels decided. Refusing any win but her son's, she protests loudly. Despite the uproar, the process advances. The two finalists are named, Song-guk and Lee Ju. Their mothers wait with them, tension thick in the air. Song's mother marvels at her son, still floored he's come so far among such lovely, bright kids, he shines brightest to her. As she muses, nerves hit. Sensing her unease, a nearby nanny kindly asks if something's off. Whispering, Song's mother admits she needs the bathroom. The nanny offers to hold Song while she slips away. After a brief pause, she hands him over and dashes off. The nanny, eyeing Song, smiles at how special he seems. But the rude woman, glaring nearby, snaps, berating the nanny for praising Song. She insults both him and the nanny, rejecting any hint of rivalry with her son. Shaken, the nanny apologizes fast. Song, watching, simmers with fury but holds off. Soon, the assistant director enters, and the rude woman pounces, addressing her at once. Scanning for Song's guardian, the assistant director listens as the woman casually notes Song's mother stepped out, freeing them to talk. She vents, insisting the audition was a formality, her kid was pre-picked, and facing another contender was pointless. Song's briefly stunned, then sees it, a fixed game to crown Jae-hoi. The assistant director soothes her, urging quiet to avoid fuss. The woman scoffs, citing higher-ups' orders, the directors say didn't matter. Still, the assistant director stays wary, noting the director's clout isn't trivial. Their goal holds, lock in Jae-hoi's win, prepped with a private coach. She nears Jae-hoi for a practice run, guiding his lines. Song smirks, amused. The final audition kicks off. The director states the baby who nails the lines naturally and hits the actions wins. Song's mother watches, silently wishing her son luck. Song stays cool, steeling himself to focus. As it starts, Song angles perfectly for the camera, knowing screen impact's key. Across the room, Ju moves too, but his mother, seeing him off mark, rushes to nudge him right. The director suggests holding off on Ju and starting with Song. He cues the assistant director for the line read. Smug, she nears Song, sure he'll flop without prep. But before she finishes, Song recites the line flawlessly, leaving her slack-jawed. The director, proud, affirms his hunch, Song's a star. The rude woman drags Ju up, pressing for his shot. The director agrees, asking Ju to say, Daddy. He freezes, then cries. Shame floods his mother, she drilled him for this, yet he's bombing the basics. When she gasps in disbelief, the director catches her slip, trained. He probes her phrasing, sensing the moment spiraling beyond control. The assistant director swiftly intervenes, declaring the audition over and thanking all for attending. Meanwhile, Song stands poised, quietly claiming his own win. His display had clearly outshone the rest. This body, this existence, had notched its first success. Yet, despite his stellar effort, the final reveal stings with a predictable but maddening twist. Lee Jae is named the child actor audition's victor. Song and his mother stand frozen, grappling with disbelief. His mother, brimming with exasperation, confronts the assistant director, demanding how this could be. She asserts Song's showing was exceptional. Unmoved, the assistant director brushes her off, saying that Song's charm didn't make him fit for the role. Before his mother can push back, the haughty woman struts over, smirking. She mocks their attempt, sneering at their audacity to chase victory with mere appeal. To her, a lowly kid like Song should settle for runner-up. With her cutting jabs delivered, she grabs her son and struts off without a backward look. Song's mother, still shaken by the venom, mutters to herself, baffled by such cruelty, especially near a child. Song, though, stays steady. Inside, he assures himself this was all anticipated. He'd expected such dishonesty and knew head-on battles were futile. Rather than waste energy on a rigged fight, he'd tweak his approach and aim bigger. Just then, the director rushes up, asking for a quiet word. His face is taut, and as he speaks to Song's mother, he spills the truth. The higher-ups had stacked the deck from the start. Apologizing to Song, he admits he hadn't wanted him to see such deceit. Song, unshaken, simply waits for what's next. He'd witnessed these ploys plenty in his former life. Anger was pointless, true strength lay in building the right ties. The director, still visibly irked, asks Song's mother to bring him to the commercial shoot next week. Song instantly clocks this as his opening. A one-off gig wasn't the prize, he needed a reliable, lasting income stream. Played smart, this could grow into wealth to bolster his family and lock in a solid future. His mother, puzzled, asks why they're needed at the shoot. The director clarifies that baby models always have standbys lined up as a safeguard. Though a winner was picked, doubts about reliability lingered, so Song's presence ensures a smooth run. As he urges her, Song silently wills her to say yes. Noticing her son's keen look, the director laughs, joking that Song seems to grasp it all. If every child actor were this easygoing, his work would be a breeze. He hands his card to Song's mother, requesting her details. She shares them readily, cementing their link. Days later, Song and his mother reach the filming spot, a striking, tucked-away set in a forest. As she marvels at the hidden gem, she notes its odd seclusion. Before they can wander, the assistant director calls her over. Spotting her, Song's mind flares with annoyance. This was the same crooked aide who'd greased the audition's fix. Guiding them in, she confirms their role as the backup model, mentioning the director had briefed her. As they move, Song's gaze lands on a familiar sight, a third-gen Samjan washing machine. His thoughts flash to its legacy. This drum tech had spiked Samjan stocks, thrilling his grandfather. The haughty woman's arrival snaps him back, her irritation clear as she demands why they're here. To her, they flunked the audition, so their presence is absurd. Song's mother coolly explains the director's invite as backups, then sharply asks her to mind her tongue around a child. The assistant director tries to soothe things, defending Song's role as a fallback if Jae's health dips or a swap's needed. The woman scoffs, claiming Jae's fine and the shoot's a cinch. Song, though, eyes the boy closely. Despite her boasts, Jae looks off. Growing testy, she waves them off as irrelevant. Before it escalates, actress See-Mi arrives, drawn by the noise. Curious, she asks about the kids filming with her. The assistant director introduces Jae as the winner and Song as a spare. See-Mi greets Jae warmly, but he stays blank. Frowning at his dullness, she turns away, then approaches Song, who's visibly thrilled. Smiling, she remarks on his rare friendliness for a baby. His mother, beaming, says Song's always been warm. Amused, See-Mi calls him far cuter than Jae and asks to shoot with him instead. The haughty woman, floored, grabs See-Mi's wrist, demanding what rubbish she's spouting. Unfazed, See-Mi eyes her coolly, asking who she thinks she is to act so high and mighty. Before it blows up, a man steps in, resting a hand on the woman's shoulder. His aura commands the room. Hearing the clamor, he asks what's happening. Caught off guard, the woman stammers, probing his identity. See-Mi, recognizing him, lights up, greeting him warmly, delighted by his surprise visit. He's the vice chairman, and his arrival shifts the vibe. As CNME chats with him, she asks what drew him here. He calmly says he couldn't skip the new product's commercial shoot. Song, studying him, reels in shock. He hadn't expected this man here. His mind races. This is John Young, Samjin's vice chairman, his father. Song ponders John Young, wondering what he's truly like. Less dazzling than Chairman John Won, he'd still shown as a skilled leader, reshaping Samjin's structure in tough times. His daring bets on niche fields marked him as a visionary, cementing his status as a sharp vice chairman. Yet, as a man, husband, and father, he'd faltered. The messy scene stirs old memories, of a man with endless lovers. At 10, Song met another, his father's ninth mistress, erased from memory the instant he saw her. Now, CNME casually notes she's filming with kids, pointing at Song with a grin. Vice Chairman John Young nears Song, sizing him up and noting his smarts. Song watches silently, father, ringing in his head. An aide cuts in, reminding the vice chairman of time. He nods, regretful, then turns to the haughty woman with a suave smile, tasking her with managing the shoot. Flustered but compliant, she vows to do well. Song sees his father's sway. She, a Deok Pong exec's wife, wouldn't defy him. Often a flirt, in key moments, John Young wielded real corporate charm. As he readies to go, he briefly pats Song's head in goodbye. Watching him leave, Song quietly vows this life won't echo his last. He's found a family worth guarding, and he'll shield them fiercely. One day, he'll forge a firm surpassing Samjan. Their paths will cross again, and he'll meet him as a peer. The assistant director breaks his reverie, starting the shoot prep and calling the child models to stand by. Song refocuses, shelving past life musings. The ad's premise is straightforward, a quaint forest villa, a mother laundering as her baby looks on. She cleans the father's sweat-stained shirt while the Samjan washer hums, transforming it to spotless. The baby, gleeful, nuzzles the fresh fabric before calling, "Father." It ends with the gleaming machine radiating cleanliness. In his old life, this ad won the Dong Advertising Award, catapulting its child star to fame. Song wonders if he should claim that spotlight now. Before he lingers, Jay starts wailing wildly. CNME, irked, questions the baby's fuss. Each time she nears, he fights and swats her. Song's mother, startled, ponders the cause, but Song inwardly gloats. His scheme worked. He'd tip the upset Jay, resist CNME, and he'd go home early. Somehow, as infants, they'd connected, and Jay followed through perfectly. The director, assessing, opts to switch, dismissing the first model and prepping the next. The haughty woman erupts, refusing to accept it, insisting her son earned the part. Frustrated, the director notes the shoots stalled an hour. The baby won't work, hitting actors, halting progress. They must wrap today. She digs in, citing her family's clout, and dials, threatening to call Deok Pong's chairman, who dotes on his grandson, to swap the crew. Tension spikes. Suddenly, CNME strides up and slaps the woman sharply. Shock ripples through, director, Song's mother, even the woman herself, speechless, struggling to process. Fury flares as she demands why. CNME, cool, smiles, saying she loathes set-disrupting egos. She nods to the woman's Deok Pong tie but shrugs off her bloated pride. The director, sensing trouble, steps in, suggesting a break for the baby inside. Yet CNME stands firm, refusing to relent. She announces her determination to push forward with the shoot, insisting she wants Song as her co-star. As the director signals everyone to get ready, a flash of irritation crosses the haughty woman's face. She can't fathom why Song is favored over her son, Jay. To her, lesser child doesn't belong here. Meanwhile, Song's mother comforts him, urging him to ignore such barbs. Song, though, remains steady. He recalls how, in his past life, the camera's red light trailed him to his end, but commanding it with ease had become instinct, a talent he'd perfected. He knows precisely how to navigate this. The filming begins. CNME delivers her lines seamlessly, showcasing the washing machine's prowess. When she wraps up, Song takes his cue, clutching the crisp shirt and beaming with pure, childlike allure. His act instantly grabs the director's eye. Thrilled, the director orders the crew to lock the main camera on Song. His stare stays glued to the lens, his expressions sharp, his timing spot on. The director can't believe it. This kid has an innate knack for the craft. Even CNME is struck, amazed at Song's effortless flair as she gears up for the next part. The assistant director cues her forward. Cradling Song, she powers through the ad's closing lines with gusto, nailing the scene. The director, witnessing their chemistry, feels wholly content. As dusk settles, the haughty woman's frustration erupts. She can't stomach that a kid, just for looking adorable on screen, has ousted her son as the ad star. She vents loudly, challenging the call. The director waves off her gripes, noting Jae couldn't deliver while Song's mother grows wary of the rising tension. CNME calms her, pointing out that the woman's protests can't undo what's set, unlike Jae, Song shown, wrapping the shoot in 2 takes. Still defiant, the haughty woman snaps, belittling CNME's judgment and stressing the hefty cash she poured into the ad. She turns her ire on the assistant director, accusing them of profiting off her wealth too. Stunned, the director demands answers from the assistant. Now livid, the woman vows to ditch the project and sue everyone, storming off with her son. Once she's gone, the director faces Song's mother, apologizing for the sudden flare-up. She just smiles, appreciating everyone's hard work. Above all, the director credits Song, without him, things could have unraveled worse. He assures them no more shoots are needed, and payment will be sorted. Song feels a quiet thrill. As his mother readies to leave, she asks if they should head out. Before they can, CNME steps up with a proposal, a ride home in her van. Accepting her kindness, they depart together. On the drive, fatigue overtakes Song, and he dozes off. Watching him, CNME remarks on his serene look. His mother, gazing fondly, agrees he must be drained from the day. She thanks CNME for the lift in such a comfy car, but CNME insists she's the one grateful to Song. Puzzled at first, his mother listens as CNME explains, Song was a standout lead today, letting her wrap early. His camera savvy, angle awareness, and scene rhythm were unmatched, every move intentional yet fluid. To her, he's not just a kid in a role, he's a polished actor. Song's mother is floored. Then CNME adds she has an offer to pitch. As she speaks, Song stirs awake, catching her words. Both he and his mother are jolted by the surprise idea, a faint grin tugging at Song's lips as he awaits her next move. Inside Song's home, awe fills the air as the landlord hands over his acting pay, $4 million total. Originally $3 million, the director pushed for more, landing the hefty sum. Song's parents gape, stunned by the windfall, hardly believing their luck. Song's elation mirrors theirs. Inwardly, he confirms child acting was the smart play. No other gig could yield this much in a baby's body. This cash is prime seed money, ripe for savvy investing, maybe in stocks or gold. His father, buzzing with joy, marvels at holding such a fortune, a first for him. His mother, though, seems lost in thought. Without pause, she passes a card to the landlord, noting actress CNME gave it to her last night. Song clocks it instantly, grasping why she's so struck. The landlord, too, pauses, eyeing the card from Sinang Entertainment, CNME's agency. Hesitantly, Song's mother shares the bombshell, CNME adores Song and wants him as an exclusive child actor there. His father reels, the notion of their baby as a star never dawned on him. His mother wavers, wishing Song well but dazed by the whirlwind. Sensing their unease, the landlord steps in, vowing to dig into the agency, its rep, CEO, and actor treatment. Her support eases Song's mother, who hadn't expected such commitment. Even Song's quietly impressed, noting her dedication. Before leaving, the landlord congratulates Song on his commercial debut, adding it airs in 2 weeks. As she turns to go, Song's mother calls her back. Curious, the landlord asks if she's worried. But her question's different. Why has the landlord been so steadfast? She'd spotted Song's gift and pitched in repeatedly. Softening, the landlord explains, alone since youth, she'd faced struggles, scrimping on meals and clothes to buy their building. Song's parents, a young duo grinding together, won her over. She just wanted to root for them. Admitting it's her meddling way, she hopes it's not a burden. Touched, Song's mother beams, then stuns the landlord with a request, can she call her, Uni, big sister? The landlord blinks, but Song's mother presses on, wanting her as family, to cook for her like kin. Moved, the landlord smiles, agreeing, and says she'll call her so young from now on. The exchange weaves a warm, new bond. Song, quietly tuning in, can't help but grin, a deep calm settling over the room as they savor the joy. 2 weeks fly by, and the big day hits. Song's father, bursting with eagerness, tells his boss, Park Won, they shut the shop early as planned. Holding Song, Park Won shares his hype for the ad. Their shop's big TV makes it the ideal watch spot for Song's debut. Song mentally shrugs. Normally, he'd bristle at this old guy's closeness, but given the favor, he'll let it slide once. Soon, the landlord arrives, greeted heartily by Song's mother, just as the ad's set to air. Settling in, she likens it to a movie night. Song's father, Ansi, hustles everyone to sit. As the ad rolls, excitement crackles. The screen glows, and all eyes lock on. See and me in Song shine, their looks flawless, their vibe natural. When it ends, cheers erupt. Park Won claps hard, and the landlord, awed, lauds the slick edit, guessing it could snag ad of the year. Song nods at her sharp take, pride swelling as his father hugs him tight, amazed such a poised kid is his. A phone rings, cutting through. Park Won answers casually, saying they're closed, but his face shifts, stunned. It's the director. Knowing the family's gathered, he's got urgent news and needs to talk now. At the director's place, Song's parents step in, warmly received. The director's eyes hit Song, who flashes a bright smile, startling him. He notes Song's growing expressiveness, more vocal than before. Amused, Song's mother says he's in a babbling phase, chattering all day. Pleased, the director mulls longer lines for him later. Song perks up, he's inching toward full actor status. The talk shifts to why they're here, a new reality show, Just Baby, starring Song. It's a parenting gig, 5 famous idols living together, tending to Song. Before they digest it, a young guy walks in, greeting them cheerily. It's Tae-hung, Just X's leader. Song's mother lights up, recognizing him. Noting her fandom, Tae-hung vows to keep pushing to be the top idol group. Song's father, though, sours, jealous of her excitement. Song finds it funny, jealousy's a bad look. The director promises they'll meet the other idols once filming starts, but Song's mother frets, will it overwhelm her son? Song notes she picked him over an idol. The director stresses. That Song was the soul of the show, his knack for connection, his vivid expressions, and his camera instincts made him indispensable. Without him, it wouldn't work. Song, sensing the potential, felt a surge of eagerness. He remembered this show from his past life. Its fresh take on idols fumbling through childcare had gripped viewers, sparking a nationwide craze. It pioneered the parenting reality wave, and for Song, an aspiring child star eyeing riches, it was an ideal launchpad. But his father wavered, anxious that too much spotlight might rob Song of a regular childhood. He wanted to nurture him with care, not fame. The director, caught off guard by the worry, paused, but Tae-hung jumped in, sharing his own story. A child actor himself once, he knew the grind of growing up watched. Yet, with the right setup, he'd thrived, regretting nothing, and now stood here. He pressed Song's father to trust his son's gifts and let him soar. Mulling it over, Song's father studied his boy, his effortless flair, his pull. If this was his path to the top, maybe it was fair to let him glow. Nodding, he clasped the director's hand, handing Song over. With the deal sealed, prep for Korea's debut parenting reality show, Just Baby, kicked off. The lead-up unfolded. Day 12, contract locked. Day 5, concept shoot done. Day 0, the hyped filming start. The idols trickled in, first Tae-hung, then Lucas, Jae-hun, Byman, and Michael last. Song's mother, thrilled to meet them, couldn't mask her glee. Seeing her, Jae-hun grabbed her hand with a grin, teasing he'd heard she was a fan. Her husband, watching, bristled. The director rallied the group, explaining they'd shoot at Just's dorm. The network had big expectations, so they had to stay sharp and bring their A-game. Song sized them up, recalling each from his old life, how they'd graced his company's stages. One idol neared Song, eyeing him with faint letdown, muttering he wasn't that cute, and reached to lift him. Song, irked by the offhand grab, swatted his hand off, mentally scoffing at the nerve. Another idol chided the first for not washing up post-smoke. A baby shouldn't be touched with grimy hands. Song, clocking this Korean American's past antics, decided he'd run this show, crafting perfect arcs for all. Flashing a winning smile, he melted the room. As they cooed, the brushed-off idol lingered back, smirking slyly, hinting he wouldn't fold easily. The director briefed the crew on the plan, 3 days of pre-filming at the dorm, cut into 3 pilot episodes. Viewer buzz would set the full run. Days would roll as scheduled, nights, observation cams would take over. As staff exited, Song's parents got hotel digs nearby, assured their son was in safe hands. The idols chimed in, vowing to tend him well. With that, the director urged peak effort. The assistant director staged the opener with narration, 5 young guys in a Seoul City semi-basement, chasing idol stardom, thrown off by a baby's arrival. Cameras spun, and the 5 turned to Song, who just stared back, blank. The quiet threw them off. Song's mother, off to the side, wavered before asking softly if lines were set. The assistant director noted its reality, raw reactions rule. The idols, new to baby wrangling on film, muttered, stumped. Seeing their floundering, Song took the reins. A baby in a strange spot would fuss, so he let loose a wail. Startled, Taehyung scooped him up fast. Another, spotting Taehyung's clumsy grip, stepped in, taking Song gently, his calm voice soothing him quick. He quipped babies love a good face, igniting a light squabble as each vied to flaunt their charm. Song watched, sizing them up, Taehyung, the steady leader with dad vibes, Jae-hun, tender and vain, a mom type, Lucas, chill and sporty, the big bro, Byman, quiet but thoughtful, a team glue. They clicked as a home unit. Glancing at the last, Song weighed him, prime villain material, but for group wins, a rival fit better. He shot him a pointed look. The pink-haired one noted Song might need a change. Taehyung, uneasy, admitted he'd never done diapers. Michael strode up, cool as ever, saying it's no sweat. But as he started, Song sprayed him square in the face, feeling smug. Michael's shock froze Taehyung, while the rest cracked up. Livid, Michael yelled, but Taehyung stepped in, cooling him off. The crew roared. Song knew this chaos was reality gold, and the day nailed it. As filming stretched on, evening loomed. The director called a 2-hour breather before the next chunk. The idols, wiped, grumbled about reality's grind, craving a script. In the lull, Song's mother sneered with a grin, praising his work, guessing he was starved after it all. She offered a banana. Song, thrilled, chomped down, musing how he'd overlooked them before, now they were divine. Taehyung sidled up to Song's father, suggesting a casual vibe, then confessed Song's pull. Near him, moments flowed, script or not, like Song got everyone's part and rolled with it. Song's father shrugged it off as chance, but Taehyung wasn't sold. Song, even as a tot, dazzled more than expected. Elsewhere, Michael, fresh from a shower, still stewed over the earlier mess, griping if babysitting suited an artist. The assistant director stashed baby food in the fridge for Song's night meal. Michael, smirking, nabbed it, vowing to prep and feed Song himself. Slipping out chili sauce, his eyes glinted with mischief. Fed up with nanny duty, he'd spice things up, literally, stirring it in, grinning at the havoc to come. The assistant director checked hidden cams. Michael, all swagger, waved the crew out. Back at the dorm, the idols slumped, some debating next moves, others too beat to care. One pushed for dinner. Taehyung flagged Song's feeding. Michael, hiding glee, stepped up with the doctored food, his sudden cheer sparking doubt. He insisted on feeding Song solo. Song, perched and wary, eyed him, then flipped it, offering Michael a spoonful first. Taehyung, chuckling, flagged it to the group, irking Michael. Hesitant, he balked at tasting it. Impatient, Taehyung grabbed the bowl, sipped, and froze, face twisting. Alarm hit as they saw his pain. Song fumed. Michael had sabotaged it. Taehyung's burning mouth confirmed the chili. All glared at Michael. Caught, he played it off as a gag for laughs, claiming it juiced up the show. Fury flared. Taehyung snapped, there are lines you don't cross, fun or not. Another, raging, noted the risk to a baby if Song ate it. Taehyung neared Song, apologizing for Michael's stunt, saying he was sharp enough to get it. Michael scoffed. Song wouldn't even catch it, but Taehyung held firm. Song's keener than they think, apology owed. Song grinned. They had spark, just needed steering, and he'd guide them. Next morning, word of the show's hit reached Song's home. The landlord burst in with news. Just Baby's debut episode, set for Friday, clocked a stunning 20% rating, way past hopes, topping MVC's prime variety averages. The director called. Regular airing was locked. Song's parents reeled at the feet. His mother, awed by the figure, asked if it mattered that much. His father got it. This was huge, unheard of. The landlord, buzzing, praised Song personally. Song savored it. His puppeteering paid off, naturally. But he wouldn't rest. His sights were grander: wealth, clout, a seat with the top dogs. Being a hot child star was just the start, his drive blazing with those dreams. He let out a loud, victorious chuckle amid their chat. Song's mother raised another topic. Days ago, folks from Sun Entertainment had stopped by their place, congratulating them on the show's hit status with a fruit basket in tow. They'd also passed along a note: the company's CEO, Shin Sung-young, wanted a sit-down. At this, the landlord's face tightened. She confessed she'd been digging into Sun Entertainment and unearthed unsettling whispers. Though a heavyweight in the field, its name wasn't spotless. Rumors of sketchy deals and ties to shady groups clung to both the agency and its head. Song's parents, floored by the news, paused. The landlord, noting how tough it'd be to dodge such a bigwig, advised they at least listen. If it felt wrong, they could cut and run early. As they talked, Song's thoughts churned. Sun Entertainment sparked a rush of recall, something chilling clicked. Dread surged: this was risky. Shin Sung-young was bad news, not for a deal, not ever. Song's parents stepped into Shin Sung-young's plush office, where he greeted them with a broad grin, waving them to sit and relax. Despite his warm vibe, a heavy vibe hung there, a quiet strained song picked up even from afar. The landlord, cool but guarded, asked what prompted the invite. Without missing a beat, Sun-young laid out his plan: an exclusive deal for Song, locking in his entertainment future. Song, watching silently, felt a twinge of unease. Sun-young's tone had an odd edge, like he knew too much already. The landlord dug deeper, probing this grand offer. Sun-young dove in fast: a 10-year exclusive with Sun Entertainment, Korea's top outfit. He touted its clout, name-dropping stars like Jang Dong-gun and Seon-mi, and claimed the terms were tailored to favor Song. As the landlord skimmed the papers, her look soured: something wasn't right. Sensing her doubt, Sun-young doubled down: a decade-long tie with a 70-30 split, agency heavy. Song's alarm bells rang: this was pure exploitation, a trap to bleed a rising star dry, then ditch them when their shine faded. A leeching deal, one that had wrecked plenty before. Sun-young hadn't changed a bit. Past life flashes hit Song. He remembered Sun-young's tight link to his father's Samjan group via Seon-mi. His dad funneled fat ad gigs to Sinung. In turn, Sun-young stayed loyal, parading his stars at every Samjan bash. But his reign tanked when blackmail and abuse scandals, his own talents his victims, broke wide open. Unaware of Song's racing mind, Sun-young kept selling, calling Song a rare gem who, with proper steering, could be a legend. Inside, though, his aim was grim. Child actors were short-term bets, their buzz dimming with age. Lock them in long, milk them dry, then toss them. Song, with no big backers, was ripe for it. Before he could press more, the landlord flat-out nixed it. Song, watching, sighed in relief. Sun-young, smile intact, asked why. She didn't mince words: a 70-30 cut was absurd, a 10-year haul unfair. Song's worth would only climb, making this a rip-off. His mask slipped a touch. He praised her boldness but waved off her point. Child actors, he said, didn't rake in adult cash, their take was slimmer, so this was fair for the long game. Song simmered: pure mind games to make them feel small, like they needed him more. Sun-young upped it, musing what if Song's looks shifted growing up, one tweak could tank his stock fast. Song's mother snapped back, horrified he'd say that near a kid. Song, barely holding it in, raged silently. Sun-young, a puffed-up frog, dared jab at his future while he'd only sharpen with time. The landlord, fed up, rose. Sun-young couldn't spot real promise, enough time wasted. As they turned to go, he smirked slyly, questioning why an outsider called shots for Song, not her place. Song's mother, unfazed, fired back: she's his manager. The landlord backed her, no hesitation. Her ad-world know-how sniffed out bad deals. Without a word, she ushered them out. Sun-young, now peeved, warned defiance had a price: the industry crushed rebels. Unfazed, the landlord stood tall: time would show who'd win. They left. Outside, frustration simmered. The landlord, unable to bite her tongue, griped about Sun-young's soullessness. Threatening a pregnant woman was vile. Song quietly agreed: pure garbage. Worried, she checked on Song's mother, who fretted more for her. Facing Sun-young wasn't light work. The landlord shrugged it off: guys like him were industry staples. No need to sign with his ilk, they'd bus it and move on. Before they could go further, Song's mother piped up, eyeing the landlord. Would she manage Song? The surprise left her mute. Song mulled it. Talent was plenty, trust scarce. The landlord was sharp, seasoned, and solid, a gem for a manager. She wavered, saying entertainment wasn't her forte. Before she could finish, Song, beaming, grabbed her hand, nudging her to say yes. His mother chimed in. They were green in this game, needing a shield they could lean on. Touched, the landlord inhaled deep. She'd never pictured this road, but purpose bloomed. With fresh grit, she nodded. She'd give her all as Song's manager. His mother hugged her, sealing it. Elsewhere, Sun Young stewed. An aide brought word. The meddler, Kim Mong, was an ad firm worker and their landlord. Smirking, he mused, if they wouldn't bend, they'd feel the industry's bite. Tensions flared again on set. Michael griped, why'd Song hog all the bananas? He wanted some. Song, just as testy, chowed down more to spite him. Their silly feud cracked up the crew, but Tae-hyung, done with it, told them to knock it off. The morning shoot ran smooth. After, the director praised the effort, calling a break. Song's parents watched from the sidelines. Spotting his mother, the director neared, noting the drag of waiting on set. She brushed it off. She loved it, hooked on filmmaking even after months. Concerned, he urged her to speak up if it got heavy. Smiling, she thanked him. Talk turned to her pregnancy. Due date near, she said. Then he flagged Michael's constant tussles with Song, fun for the show, but did they cross lines or bother her? Trusting him, she said he'd manage it right. He vowed to watch close. The landlord eyed the chat, guarding Song's mother. Tae-hyung suggested lunch, but another idol noted how raw reality felt versus scripted gigs. Song, stuffed with bananas, grew sleepy. Michael, still sore, crept up, venting. Song, fed up with his edge, saw him as a crude pest, his antics now too much. In a huff, Michael pinched Song's cheek. Song howled. Jolted, Michael hushed him. It wasn't that bad. Before he could yap more, the landlord snapped his name. He stiffened, bracing. She grilled him. Did he pinch Song? He scoffed. Song overreacted. Unswayed, she said Song didn't cry or fume without cause. Song smirked. His manager had it nailed. She pressed on. Michael touched Song too much on set. It stopped now. Peeved, he shot back. Why so precious over a nobody? She fired off. Song landed him ad gigs, act pro, no kid scraps. Scooping Song up, she walked off, tossing a firm warning. Michael boiled. He didn't come to Korea to nanny a punk, he craved artistry. As Song got carried off, he stuck out his tongue, gloating. Feeling isolated, Michael noticed castmates' disapproving looks since the hot sauce incident. Frustration mounting, he plotted to ruin the show. He didn't need it and could succeed alone. Lost in thought, his phone rang. Answering grumpily, he was stunned by what he heard. Meanwhile, the director called a production meeting, thanking everyone. He noted Tae-hyung's busy schedule and Song's growing role before the main agenda. He shared exciting news: the show's viewership hit 30%. The higher-ups were thrilled, especially with Song. As thanks, he gave out bonuses, urging all to keep pushing as the series neared its end. Then he introduced the Christmas special. With the holidays nearing, the network wanted a 90-minute family-friendly episode. Since Song was steadier at walking and running, they'd included Song. Thrilled, mentally cheered himself. He trained hard to master those skills. The director outlined a festive party with Song and the Just Baby team dressing up, dancing together on screen. As talk heated up, the assistant director cut in with urgent news. He'd seen a troubling article about Song in the paper that day's news focused on Just Baby, hinting at issues between Song and his parents. Though baseless, it stirred concern. The director turned off the TV. Song's worried mother asked what to do. He dismissed it as gossip meant to disrupt a hit show. Such rumors were common. The landlord vowed to investigate why it surfaced. Suddenly Song wailed, protesting the lies, startling his mother, who turned to him. He gestured to the director to stay calm, but his father grabbed him, scolding his rudeness. Song realized public perception was a power struggle. Understanding the article's motive was key to winning. They had to act fast with the director's industry ties. He needed to lead. After a pause, he agreed. Since it tied to the broadcast, he and the network would handle it, advising Song's family to stay home with reporters possibly nearby. Though uneasy, Song's parents listened as the landlord offered to take Song. The director thanked her, trusting her judgment. She assured him she'd manage, hinting at another matter to discuss. He promised a quick fix, urging calm. It'd pass soon. Stepping outside, the assistant director asked about the meeting. The director shared intel. Song's parents were Allegedly meddling daily in filming shocked the assistant director. Heard the director suspect a mole, asking if it was him. He denied it, citing his near firing and distance from drama. Still doubtful, the director wondered who else it could be. As Christmas neared, the city buzzed with cheer. Volunteers urged help for the less fortunate. A voice praised a white Christmas Eve in the crowd. Song's mother pushed a stroller, masked and sunglassed, to hide. A man nearby whispered to his friend about sunglasses. At night she shrugged it off as cold protection. Song fussed. His mother hushed him, wondering if leaving home was wise, though she promised to stay put. Confinement drove her out. A walk to meet her husband seemed safe. She told Song she knew he wanted to walk, but they had to avoid notice. Frustrated, Song found it humiliating being stroller bound. At his age he craved freedom. Passing by, two strangers gushed about just baby, praising Thai high young Santa roll and Song's snowman act. Sad it was. Ending. They mentioned rumors. The latest article accused Song's parents of greed and Song of slyness. One questioned if it made sense at 3, yet noted his odd maturity. Song fumed at their gall after his great acting. His mother's unease grew. Song's father rushed up, worried they'd come out in the cold. Seeing her distress as she cried, he asked what was wrong. Song reflected the public was buying rumors. If unchecked it'd worsen. They needed a counter. Determined, his father stormed the director's office. Furious, he couldn't let it go on. He had to protect them. The director apologized despite efforts. Song's fame fueled rumors. His father demanded action. The director suggested a bold live interview if they agreed. As December 31st hit, the Just Baby year-end special aired. Hosts cheered the year, with Song hyping the New Year's show, asking support. The assistant director noted it started suggesting interview prep. He assured Song's parents it was right. Every effort was made. This was the last step. Like stars with press, it'd clear things. Privately filmed, they could relax. Song's father apologized to his wife, surprising her. He admitted with her due date near, it must have been tough, feeling he'd worsened it. She said she did it for Song too. His boldness made her proud. Touched, he hugged her. The landlord arrived with Song, surprised by the live interview plan. Song pondered. They'd been cautious parents. A live interview was bold, not bad, but sudden. His mother lifted him, calling him handsome, promising with his father to clear lies. Tears in Song's eyes, he wondered if it was for him. Camera scared him. Facing people was hard. The assistant director and landlord smiled. He asked if the director arrived but froze, startled. Tae-hyung rushed in, alarmed by live interview news. The assistant director confirmed that a leak drew reporters outside. A crowd shouted questions. Tae-hyung reached the director, uneasy even as an idol. The director admitted it was chaos. He tried to stop it, but the press wouldn't leave. The conference rolled. Reporters grilled Song's shaky parents. His father finally shouted for quiet, noting his wife's late pregnancy, begging no flashes. If calm, he'd answer. A reporter asked why they'd gone public. He faced them, addressing rumors he and his wife, orphans, built a family from nothing. Song's talent sparked his career. He begged the media stop baseless attacks. Relentless, a reporter demanded proof of earnings. Song, furious, climbed down, stood before his parents. Though his speech wasn't perfect, he wouldn't let them be bullied. Tong signaled the director. They ended it as calm returned. Song asked his father if he was okay. Emotional, he hugged him. Sorry for poor words. Song reassured him he'd done enough. Turning to his mother, her tense face and uneven breath worried him. Struggling, she said she had contractions. Song and his father froze, shocked. As the ambulance sped to the hospital, Song's mother's state declined, her face twisting in agony. Her husband, fighting tears, begged her to hold on. The hospital was close. Despite her struggle, she comforted Song, feigning ease, but he saw through it. Her pain was raw. Powerless, he wondered what he could do. Childbirth was alien, the unknown stoking his nerves. Soon after, in the hospital, relief and glee swept through. Song's mother had delivered safely, and word buzzed among the waiters. Song's father and the assistant director beamed, toasting the new arrival. The assistant director faced Song's mother, praising her grit, asking how she held up. She smiled thankfully, crediting everyone's help. Eyeing the baby, he gushed over its cute traits, had wondered if any could rival Song, but Mingguk's chubby cheeks charmed just as much. Reaching for the infant, Song swatted his hand with a firm glare. Newborns weren't for careless grabs, wash up first. The assistant director laughed, noting Song's big brother vibe. Song, lost in thought, flashed to his past life, his siblings, always chaos. Vowing to steer this one right, he'd guide Mingguk steady. Meanwhile, the director neared Song's father with a pitch. Given the live broadcast's huge echo, could he shoot a quick bit with Song and Mingguk? Song's father nodded fast. As filming kicked off, he asked the director for the scoop on the mess they'd left. The director eased him, no worries now, it was nearly sorted, the leaker nabbed. Elsewhere, the culprit was pinned. The cast had boxed in Michael, who stood rigid, clutching his pager, stammering how they'd snared him. Tae-hyung faced him, listing odd leaks, set secrets in articles, even stuff staff didn't know hitting the press. Too clear to miss. Michael, playing dumb, brushed it off, but Tae-hyung wasn't buying it. His recent moves screamed guilt, so Lucas tailed him. Truth broke. Tae-hyung dropped the bomb. Michael's link to Shin Sung-young, Sinung Entertainment CEO. Michael's defiance cracked to panic. Tae-hyung dug in. Song's manager had pegged Sinung, the pager's voicemail number tied back. Helping Shin Sung-young harass Song's family was unforgivable, both he and the CEO would pay. Soon, cops nabbed Shin Sung-young, press swarming, hurling questions. He flailed, denying it all. Back at the hospital, post-story, Song's father looked shaken. The director calmed him. Tae-hyung would deal with Michael, secure an apology. Just covered hospital bills, the network pitching in too, any extra needs, they'd talk. Song's father waved off more cash, the private room was plenty, family together was all. Rumors gone, peace reigned. The director grinned, public favor swung hard their way post-interview. He and the manager would tie up loose ends. He added, the network opted for a 2-month break after this. Song's father balked, was that long needed? The director assured him, pre-taped stuff was set, rest up, enjoy family. Spring would bring them back. Time rolled, seasons flipped. The new year barely dawned, but March bloomed in, flowers and calm with spring. Big news hit, the nation's darling, Song, was back, broadcast buzz already humming. At home, Song's mother rested a soft hand on her husband's shoulder, asking what he watched. John Jae-hyung sat glued to the TV, Song on screen. Curious, he asked Seon if she knew the kid. Seon jogged his memory, they'd met Song at the spin wash shoot. Recalling, he wondered why he cared now. Something in Song's poise hooked him, he said. Seon, cozying next to him, said it's simple, Song's a prodigy, his flair boundless, set for anything. John Jae-hyung, doubtful, asked if he was just a fleeting cute act. Seon shot that down, her own rise leaned on his ties, sure, but her eye for talent was keen. Song wasn't some kid star, he had a performer's soul. She noted Shinsung Entertainment's botched grab at him, crashing their own ship. John Jae-hyung's brow lifted, Seon had been with them. She said she was cutting ties, the deal sucked, so it worked out. He pressed, what next, another agency? She teased a cool plan, taking it slow, but if he was hooked, betting on Song might pay. John Jae-hyung, intrigued, mulled it. At Song's place, the landlord breezed in with seaweed soup, setting it before him. Its rich scent warmed the room. Sipping, he marveled, did their manager Kim cook this good too? She served Song's mother, who thanked her, cooking for them so often was a gift. The landlord waved it off, as Song's manager, it was her job. Song's mother noted she never took pay for the food and fruit. The landlord just urged her to eat, they were family, caring was her duty. Song's mother, moved, softened. As they ate, Song caught Mingguk eyeing his dish. Gently but firm, he said it was his, Mingguk had milk. Song's mother chuckled, her little one mimicked Song now, easing childcare. Song saw it darker, 2 months taught him babies were brutal, Mingguk wailed non-stop, shunned sleep, craved him always. Past siblings were pests, but he'd hoped for a loyal tagalong here, instead, a needy leech. Then Mingguk's big, pure eyes hit him, too cute. Sighing, Song caved, feeding him milk one more time. His mother and the landlord cracked up, the landlord teased it was a baby minding a baby. Song's mother agreed, Song's help was a boon. Then the landlord got serious, had she thought of moving? With 2 kids, their old, cramped place didn't cut it, even as landlady, she laughed saying it. Song's mother paused, no cash yet. The landlord dangled a curve, what if funds popped up? Puzzled, she asked how. Leaning close, the landlord whispered, Samjan Electronics wanted Song as their sole model. Song's mother gaped. The landlord went on, an offer was out, contract details coming. A game changer. Still reeling, Song's mother sat quiet. The landlord nudged, focus on eating, the network's car was due later, no hurry. Glancing out, she spotted a ride at the gate, rushing to check if it was them. Opening it, she froze, Michael stood there. Song stepped up, eyeing Michael, thoughts churning with bitterness. This guy, Shin Sung-young's pawn who'd stabbed their family, dared show suspicion nod, grudge or sabotage. Before Song moved, Tae-hyung popped out, chipper, saying they'd come to see Song after ages, car in tow. Michael had words. Straight up, he apologized, owning his screw-ups. Silence hung heavy. Song, seething inside, couldn't buy it so easy. His mother, though, took it gentle, accepted it, hoping Michael had cause. Her grace stunned Song and the landlord. Song thought her too soft, too kind, but if they'd be mild, he'd be the razor. Rage smoldered. Young broke it, time to roll, everyone waited. At the director's place, he greeted Song warm. A rare grin lit Song's face as he hugged him, catching eyes. The director teased, Song's extra friendly today. Song, musing, clicked, he was built for work, worn from baby duty, needing his career full on. Turning to his mother. He checked on her condition, but before she could reply, Minguk's sobs broke in. The little guy had gotten even more charming over 2 months, pulling the director over with a warm smile. Yet Minguk's wails sharpened, startling everyone. Song's mother clarified that Minguk was hooked on Song, his upset came from not spotting his big brother. Swinging back to business, the director outlined shifts from the past 2 months. With 20 episodes to go, the finale was pegged for September. When filming restarted, a cherry blossom picnic would lead off. The setting switched to the shoot spot, where Taehyung poked fun at Song, naming him a cherry blossom sprite. Flattery streamed from every angle, sparking an odd thrill in Song. The assistant director rounded up the team, shooting was imminent. Then a pink-haired castmate scooped Song up, playfully prodding him to wiggle. Mid-chat, a car screeched up. The driver, murmuring into a gadget, verified he'd reached the site per the vice chairman's command. Inside, the vice chairman brooded, did he truly need to show? His thoughts rewound to a talk with his secretary about Song's exclusive deal. Quizzed on progress, the secretary said the terms were laid out, but Song's parents, rattled by its heft, lagged. Should he press? The vice chairman nixed it, mulling the deal itself. The secretary deemed it lavish for Song's track record, value it. The vice chairman felt deeper, a strange draw, a bond he couldn't pin, like family roots. The driver hopped out, noting he had to check something. The pink-haired castmate squinted forward, jabbing a finger, Samjin's vice chairman. Song flinched, eyes fixing on him, breath catching as one word roared inside, father. Staring at the vice chairman, Song's old life memories flooded back. John Jae-hyung, his father then, was a mystery, firstborn of Samjin's creator, bred to take over. Unlike his granddad's iron rule, his dad zeroed on outcomes, performance defined him, in trade, home, kids. Teek and Mijin, missing his lofty bar, grappled with self-doubt. Song sidestepped those demands, topping them his way. Their tie was stiff, packed with space and mute friction, yet he remained his son. Ryuk was a total brainiac in his past life, no question about it, but his bond with his dad? Yikes, that was a bumpy road. Even when they bumped into each other and tossed out a casual, hey, the vice president, yep, his old man, acted like a total grump. He couldn't even handle his own golden boy without a clue, and then, oops, Ryuk accidentally shouted, Dad, at the vice president, loud and clear as day. Ryuk snapped his mouth shut, kicking himself for letting that slip out like a rookie. The vice president grinned and said hi to Ryuk, tossing in, don't you remember me? We met at that washing machine ad shoot. Ryuk spun around, all sass, and snapped, nope, no idea who you are. But the guy wasn't buying it, smirking, oh really? Then why'd you just call me dad? Ryuk tried to play it off like it never happened, but this dude was like a dog with a bone, insisting, I know what I heard, kid. He kept inching closer, bugging Ryuk, who thought, wow, dad still got that stubborn streak. Suddenly, the director and Ryuk's mom dashed over, asking the vice president, what's the big idea showing up here? The guy shrugged, I just wanted a quiet peek at Rue and then bounce, but I guess I crashed the party. The director raised an eyebrow, why the obsession with Ryuk? The man doubled down, I just needed to see him in the flesh. Those sparkling eyes hit him like a flashback to his younger days, and now he was sold, Ryuk was star material. He turned to Ryuk's mom, hey, did you check that contract yet? We're ready to lock in an exclusive deal whenever you say go. Any extra demands, just hit up my agent. Ryuk, losing all chill, blurted out, I want more cash. His mom turned beet red, stammering, sorry, he's just spouting nonsense. But deep down, Ryuk knew his loaded past dad owed him a chunk of change. The vice president blinked, then burst into wild laughter, ruffling Ryuk's hair like he was a puppy, saying, oh, I'll get the money ready, kiddo. Swing by my office after the shoot. Mom nodded, and the vice president strutted off. Ryuk stared after him, thinking, I figured I'd never see this rich jerk again. He's up there, I'm down here, worlds apart. Yet here we are, crashing into each other. Memories flooded back of helping his dad on a big project, being the sharpest kid in the family, but now he's a toddler again. The director clapped, back to work, Ryuk. He refocused, deciding his new family was the priority, and making bank on this shoot. They were filming a spring picnic special in the park, followed by a kids episode where Michael got turned into a horse, hilarious stuff. Time zipped by, and soon it was summer vacation. Ryuk and the idol crew hit the pool, and the little guy learned to swim like a champ. Months later, the show's cast had a fan army tailing them everywhere. Fangirls swarmed the set, bouncers yelling, "Pipe down, we're rolling." Ryuk and his mom peeked out, stunned at the chaos. The assistant director muttered, "How do these fans always find us?" Ryuk wanted to check it out, but mom held him back, sighing, "Filming some mess lately with these crazies. We're not just national idols anymore, we've gone global, and some fans are sneaking onto the set. Stay sharp, kiddo." Ryuk was walking like a pro now, and all the show's kids had grown up fast. The national idol group, adored coast to coast, was skyrocketing. Telling his mom, "I'm heading out first." It was bittersweet, but he knew bigger things awaited. Then, out of nowhere, a hand grabbed him from the shadows. He spun around, heart racing, staring at a mystery guy who whispered, "Can you help me out?" As the fog cleared, Ryuk saw it was Young, sneaking through the fan mob. The kid was shrieking, and Young hissed, "Shush, they'll hear you." Ryuk's pulse pounded, kidnapping vibes much, but he calmed down and asked, "What's the favor?" The assistant director popped up, confused, "What are you two doing out here?" Young grinned, "We need Ryu to pick our title song." They hustled into a room with the idol gang, camera rolling for a fun memory, maybe a viral post too. The director strolled in, "What's the deal, Young?" The kid fidgeted, "Our next album's ready, but we're stuck on the title track. The group split, so we want Ryu to choose." The director blinked, "A 3-year-old picking your big song? Really?" But Ryuk sat there, dead serious. Young admitted, "I had doubts, but this past year, Ryuk shaped us. We were clueless at acting, fumbling with a kid, but he taught us tons. Even Michael learned recklessness bites. We want his stamp on this album." Ryuk popped in earbuds, listening to 3 tracks while Lucas and Yun flanked him, guessing his pick. With the show ending soon, Young thought it'd be epic for Ryuk to decide. He yanked off the headphones, smirking like he'd cracked the code. "Smart move, kids, I know the future." He grabbed a cassette with funky scribbles. Lucas gasped, his track got snubbed for Yun's. The director asked, "What's this one like?" Young explained, "Yun helped produce it. It's the wild card, most thought it'd be a sidetrack, but Ryuk picked it." Why? In his past life, that sidetrack topped charts for 5 weeks straight. Even John memorized it without trying. If it had been the title back then, it'd have been legendary. This switch could make the idols icons. Lucas whined, "Pick again." Ryuk shut him down, "Nope, this is it. Trust me." His fierce glare silenced Lucas, and Young shrugged, "Guess we're rolling with it, Ryuk's family." They pushed hard, dropping the recording online and on TV, fans freaked, the baby picked it. Scene shift, Ryuk's mom led him into a dark room, creepy vibes galore. He knew the idols were plotting something before the show wrapped, so he played along. Surprise! The crew belted, "Happy Birthday, Ryu," with cameras rolling. They'd synced it with the rap party, genius. The director grinned, "How's it feel, kid?" Ryuk shook at first, freaking everyone out, but then beamed, "I love it." Predictable, sure, but who doesn't love the spotlight? The director waved, "I brought fancy meat, station's treat for your hard work." Ryuk drooled, "All you can eat?" "Yes." Lucas sobbed into a meat bowl, and they partied hard, Ryuk chowing spicy chicken. The bash ended, gratitude all around. For Mom, it was emotional, years of life closing. Then, a guy in a black coat slipped in, "Vice Chairman sent me. Congrats on the show." He handed her a box, "Fancy ginseng." The secretary added, "Review that contract when you can." Mom lit up, "We'll visit ASAP." Cut to them heading to the electronics HQ, Kim asked, "Need a breather first?" Mom shook her head, promised we'd go right after the party, and Ryu's pumped. Ryuk, though, stayed sharp, his sly past dad might want something. At HQ, a stunning attendant greeted, "Vice Chairman's waiting." The doors swung open, reflections bouncing, and the man smiled, "Been a while, glad the kid's here too." They sat at a swanky table, tea and snacks served. Ryuk spotted his fave past life cookies, nostalgia overload. Kim thanked the vice president, sipping tea, but he waved it off, "No biggie. Check the contract." She nodded, "It's crazy generous, 150 million for 3 years. Hard to believe." Ryuk spat out his cookie, first time hearing the number. Shady much, he thought, knowing his dad's tricks. The vice president chuckled, surprised, "Huh? Kim got real, why this much?" He leaned in, "It's an investment in Ryuk." Suspicion tingled, but the secretary chimed in, "Our scholarship program's legit, spotting talent like Ryuk's our thing." Mom blinked, "Scholarship?" The man grinned, "Ryuk's special, smart, bold. With support, he'll soar." She struggled to buy it, but Ryuk jumped on his chair, slamming the table, "I'll be the best." He knew his results-obsessed dad loved talent, and he'd outshine them all. Mom cringed, "Why's he like this?" But the vice chairman ate it up, "That fire. My kids don't have it. I'm doubling down, new contract draft coming. Think it over, it's gold for him." Nighttime, Mom tucked the kids in, exhausted, then asked Dad, "What's your take?" He shrugged, "I'm no expert, but 150 million. Unreal." She shivered, "It's scary, someone that big noticing Ryuk. What if it's a trap?" Ryuk, awake next door, eavesdropped. "They've never seen a million, 150's a monster. Poverty's cruel, keeping them small." He feared they'd pass, but Dad piped up, "Take it. Ryuk could thrive, school, job, a life like the chairman's." Ryuk grinned, Dad was on it. Next day, the secretary visited, "Vice chairman's thrilled you're quick. But the deal's tweaked, 2 years, 100 million, less work for Ryuk studies." Mom loved it, but then, plot twist. He pulled another draft, few more changes. They froze, "What's next?" Hit subscribe, don't miss the reveal. The secretary began to smile as he informed the woman that he wished to modify some contract terms as well. Meanwhile, both Kim and Ryuk's mother were visibly anxious, curious about what these changes might entail. Observing their unease, the secretary asked if they were okay. Ryuk's mother, however, was solely focused on learning which contract terms were being altered. The secretary pulled 2 pamphlets from his briefcase, explaining to the woman that they intended to revise 2 specific points, which he would soon clarify. To his astonishment, Ryuk swiftly snatched the pamphlets and began examining them with intense focus, surprising both his mother and the manager, who were puzzled by the child's actions. In contrast, Ryuk was carefully analyzing every detail with great care. The secretary, trying to remain composed, attempted to retrieve the pamphlets, explaining to Ryuk that the documents were meant for adults only. Suddenly, Ryuk mentioned something about the company's stocks and an apartment complex. Confused, the secretary began questioning why the pamphlets referenced apartments and stocks. Caught off guard by Ryuk's remarks, the secretary was visibly shaken, while Ryuk wondered if he had accidentally revealed his pretense of acting childish. With curiosity, he asked the secretary about the nature of the project. As Ryuk stared at the secretary, he noticed the man's clear discomfort. Though pretending to be a child at this mental age felt awkward, Ryuk was determined to uncover his late father's hidden agenda, and it was worth the effort. With wide, innocent eyes and an eager expression, Ryuk urged the secretary to explain quickly. But then he realized the room's shock wasn't about the proposal, it was because Ryuk could read so fluently. His mother, astonished, asked if Ryuk could truly read, and the child confirmed it. The secretary smiled, while the mother repeatedly questioned how her son had learned to read and write without sufficient practice. The secretary found Ryuk remarkable, noting that a 3-year-old teaching himself any language was extraordinary. Yet, the mother remained curious about how Ryuk had managed to learn independently. Nervously, the boy explained to her that he had picked it up from newspapers and television. It seemed implausible that he could master such complex words with such proficiency through self-study, but it was happening right before their eyes. The secretary realized the vice chairman was correct in believing the child was a prodigy worth investing in. Laughing warmly, the secretary prepared to clarify everything, informing the woman that since she had reduced the contract deposit from 150 million to 100 million, the vice chairman wanted to show appreciation. They decided to gift Ryak stocks in Samsung Electronics valued at 50 million. This revelation stunned the woman, her face draining of color. The secretary continued, explaining that as the company was developing a premium apartment complex in a prime location, Ryak's family would receive a spacious unit for 4 people upon its completion in 2 years. Hearing this, Ryak was incredulous, unable to believe his late father could be so generous without ulterior motives. Even the woman felt it was excessive, and Ryak began rifling through the papers, searching for the hidden catch. Eventually, he discovered the mandatory employment clause, which stipulated that if the 2-year service obligation wasn't met, the gifted stocks had to be returned immediately, with the recipient responsible for the taxes. Relieved to have found the trap, Ryak recognized this as his late father's classic tactic, luring people with rewards to secure their loyalty while profiting if the deal fell through. The vice chairman only offered rewards on his terms, and with Ryak being so young, he was dangling enticing incentives to bind him to the company. But Ryak saw through it all, fully aware of his father's methods. Smiling, the boy slapped the pamphlet down and asked the secretary for the stamp, ready to commit to the 2 years. This shocked his mother further, and she stopped him, insisting he couldn't decide alone. Ryak threw a tantrum, shouting that he wanted to take on the work and sign the contract. Only he knew the stocks would soar in value and the apartment in the pricey area would appreciate significantly, allowing them to profit by selling it. Thus, this was a contract that absolutely had to be signed. Screaming, Ryak declared he would claim it all. His mother scolded him, urging him to behave, but Kim intervened, advising her to think calmly and sign the contract, as it was a golden opportunity for Ryak and the family. The mother relaxed, trusting Kim's judgment. The manager then addressed the secretary, expressing gratitude for the generous terms. But Kim acknowledged the contract's magnitude for an individual, revealing their plan to establish a company for a business-to-business agreement. The secretary was surprised, asking about the company they intended to form, and even Kim was amazed that she would manage a company dedicated to Ryak, planning a one-person agency called SKJ Entertainment. The name impressed the secretary, who saw it as a perfect solution for handling contracts without delay. He noted that more contracts would arise in the future, and Ryak grinned, his teeth adorably visible, realizing SKJ Entertainment was the first company in his name. Though Kim had proposed the idea to support Ryak, it was the foundation of an empire. A flashback to days earlier showed Kim debating whether to create a one-person agency, surprising Ryak, who, despite his business background, hadn't considered it. Now, with the company forming, Ryak envisioned something far grander than a small agency, a potential global corporation. Back in the present, the secretary cheerfully promised the manager support for the agency's establishment to ensure a smooth process. The discussion concluded, and as the secretary looked forward to collaborating with the boy, Ryak joyfully placed his thumbprints on the contract, hugging the documents and proclaiming the money was his. His mother, though cautious, was delighted seeing her son's excitement, while Kim, as always, admired her employer. That night, the scene shifted to Ryak's mother showing the pamphlets to the father, recounting the day's events and how they signed the contract. Ryak slept on his father's lap, content during the conversation. The father, however, was overwhelmed: company stocks, a new apartment, and the shocking revelation that his son could read without their knowledge left him feeling left out. The money and house were great, but his face paled when he realized his son could read. Tears welled up as he told Ryak how proud he was. Ryak tried to wriggle free, but his father's strength held him. Then came another surprise, an extravagant dinner with expensive meat and fish topped with caviar. Ryak, curious about the colorful garnishes, listened as his mother explained that, having received part of the contract deposit, she wanted the family to enjoy a small luxury without spending much. She even added meat to Min's baby food, the baby's first taste, his mouth watering with anticipation. As the mother fed the younger sibling, she asked Ryak if the food was good. He gave a thumbs up, eating heartily, thinking there was no point skimping on food. If poor health struck, no wealth would matter. Ryak dug in eagerly while the father watched the family with joy. Suddenly, the mother asked the father if he'd spoken to his boss. He explained that he'd told his boss he wanted to pursue something independently, and the boss supported his ambition to prepare for opening his own store. Ryak and his mother were stunned, and the father thanked his son for providing capital, noting that with careful saving, they might afford a small commercial space in 2 years. His boss had even offered to teach him everything from cooking gourmet dishes to running a shop. Ryak and his mother laughed, encouraging him to chase his dream. Ryak expressed his love, smiling brightly, and the father, touched, patted his son's head, grateful for the chance to pursue his passion. Ryak, unworried, wished his father success, confident that in 2 years, he'd earn enough to buy 10 commercial buildings for the family. Elsewhere, actress Lim interrogated Secretary Yang about the contract's outcome. The secretary questioned her curiosity, but she insisted that, having recommended Ryak to the vice chairman, she deserved an update. Learning that Ryak had signed an exclusive contract, Lim's face took on a sinister expression. In the office, not a mere room, Sun Singh overheard, incredulous that Ryak's family, who rejected his offer, was now tied to the electronics company. Lim informed Singh that Ryak had signed an exclusive modeling contract and formed a one-man agency. Furious that Ryak's family had defied him and were now thriving, Singh vowed not to let it slide, plotting to send hired thugs to ruin them so they'd never appear on television again. The actress challenged the old man, warning that his plan was ill-advised. With Ryak now signed to the electronics company, he was no longer the same vulnerable child. She cautioned that targeting Ryak would be akin to tampering with the vice chairman's prized assets. Given the contract's terms, the chairman held high hopes for Ryak, and if anything happened to such a valuable asset, the consequences would be unpredictable. One thing was certain, the entertainment company would face ruin. Furious, the old man berated the actress, demanding she end the discussion and leave. He ordered her to return with properly completed resignation paperwork. As the actress exited the office, she glanced at the 7-year exclusive contract renewal from the entertainment company, then tore it to shreds, resolving not to indulge him further. She was no longer the same actress from 7 years ago. The scene shifts to the Ryak family's home, where the mother was applying a face mask to her adorable baby. Ryak lay calmly, cucumber slices adorning his face, feeling surprisingly refreshed. His mother gazed at her sweet child, wondering if she should add more slices for his enjoyment. Too absorbed in the soothing mask, Ryak said nothing. He reflected on how much had changed since signing the exclusive contract with Samjin Electronics. First, his manager had been overwhelmed with paperwork, announcing that Ryak was already booked for numerous commercials and currently on a break. She was efficiently sorting through a flood of casting requests for the new one-man agency, excelling in her role. Second, Ryak's father, after a serious family discussion, decided to open a restaurant near the apartment the company would provide in 2 years, aiming to build a customer base. His former boss was even assisting with secret recipe development. Lastly, their mother was barely managing, soothing the constantly fussy younger brother while also tending to Ryuk's dry, irritated skin. In his past life, Ryuk would have indulged in costly facials with beautiful attendants, as the future CEO. Yet, he was astonished to find that the simple cucumber slices his mother placed on his face felt even better, likely because they came from her loving hands rather than paid professionals. Ryuk munched on cucumber slices while wearing the mask, and his mother beamed, delighted that her well-behaved son never complained. Growing sleepy, Ryuk rested as his mother decided to let him and his younger brother nap while she quickly hung the laundry. During his peaceful moment, Ryuk overheard a broadcast announcing the week's music chart. The #1 song, topping the charts for 10 consecutive weeks, was the one he had selected for the band It Was a Lie. Pleased but unsurprised, Ryuk smiled, knowing the idol group was thriving with his brother's choice. He planned to have them repay the favor later. His thoughts wandered to Michael's whereabouts, but the doorbell interrupted him. As his mother opened the door, a visitor claimed to be from the electronics company. Assuming it was work-related, she invited them in. Ryuk sprang up, rushing to the door, only to see a figure with a fully covered face, concealing their identity. Nervous and confused, he wondered who this ghostly visitor was. Upon spotting Ryuk, the figure squealed about his cuteness, noting he'd grown chubbier since their last encounter and that the face mask enhanced his charm. Alarmed, Ryuk's mother stepped between them, demanding to know who the visitor was and why they sought Ryuk when he was fully occupied. The visitor revealed herself as the actress, overjoyed to see Ryuk after so long. Stunning as ever, she asked the family how they'd been. Ryuk, however, was far from pleased, aware of her past affair with his late father. Over coffee, the actress expressed surprise at the modesty of Ryuk's home. The mother offered her a cup, which she gratefully accepted. Ryuk eyed her suspiciously, abruptly asking what brought her to their house. The actress, realizing her purpose, began apologizing profusely, confessing to the mother that she'd long wanted to make amends. The mother, stunned, questioned why the actress felt the need to apologize. Tearfully, the actress explained that her recommendation of Ryuk to the entertainment company had caused them hardship. She hadn't anticipated the old man's extreme actions, and her guilt nearly brought her to tears as she apologized to Ryuk. Ryuk recalled that in his past life, the actress and the old man had a strictly professional relationship, nothing more. Though cunning, she never meant harm beyond her affair with his father. Ryuk preferred having people indebted to him over making enemies. Sternly, he told her to stop apologizing, assuring her it was fine. Shocked that Ryuk, not his mother, accepted her apology, the actress listened as the mother added that her visit and heartfelt words meant a lot. They were grateful for her support when no one else stood by Ryuk. Touched, the actress nearly cried, marveling at their kindness. She resolved to stay close to Ryuk's mother, suggesting they speak informally henceforth. Their emotional reunion was cut short when Ryuk pointedly asked why she used Samjin's name for a mere apology. The mother scolded Ryuk for his rudeness, but the actress, impressed by his sharp conversation skills and rapid speech development, got to the point. She revealed she'd come to deliver a document, producing an envelope from her coat. It was a company contract document, which she admitted to swiping from the secretary. The mother eagerly requested it, but the actress, ever sly, declared she'd decided to join Ryuk's one-man agency. This stunned Ryuk, who wondered what this cunning fox was plotting.
Zanny leaned forward, her eyes pleading as she urged Secretary Yang to spill the details. She revealed that her exclusive deal with Xinxiang Entertainment had finally expired, confessing her frustration with CEO Xinxiang's empty promises. I want to join an agency that feels like family, she said, her voice warm and earnest. So-Yang's cheeks flushed, touched by Zani's apparent sincerity though, unbeknownst to her, it was all part of the act. Why don't agencies come with a family vibe guarantee? Zani teased lightly, earning a soft chuckle from So-Yang. Sliding closer, Zani rested a gentle hand on So-Yang's shoulder. This is a win for both of us, she said, her tone brimming with confidence. My fame could skyrocket your agency's profits and put it on the map. Behind her dazzling smile, Zani hid a sly plan. Joining the agency would give her the perfect perch to pull strings in her favor. Convinced by Zani's charm, So-Yang nodded, ready to seal the deal with a contract. But just as they turned to grab the paperwork, Songguk stood in the doorway, arms crossed, his voice firm. Not happening. Both women froze, stunned by his sudden objection. So-Yang's brow furrowed, clearly annoyed, while Zani kept her cool, tilting her head with a polite smile. Songguk, why the veto? She asked, her tone as smooth as ever. Songguk, ever dramatic, flopped onto the floor like a sulky cat, muttering, I just don't like it, okay? Call it a gut feeling. So-Yang's face reddened slightly, embarrassed by his antics. He's just being a big kid, she assured Zani with an apologetic laugh. Ignore him, we can still talk terms. Songguk, quit acting like you're auditioning for a soap opera. But Songguk wasn't done. He rolled across the floor wailing, No way, no way, like a toddler denied a toy. So-Yang's jaw dropped, her face paling with a mix of shock and mortification. Zani, hand over her mouth, looked equally stunned. The commotion was so loud it roused Songguk's younger brother Minguk, who'd been napping in the next room. His eyes snapped open as a piercing cry echoed through the house. So-Yang, realizing her youngest was awake, shot to her feet and darted to soothe him, muttering under her breath about Songguk's timing. Zani, still composed, crouched beside Songguk and poked his cheek playfully. What's got you so grumpy about me? She asked, her voice teasing. Songguk swatted her hand away, glaring with a resentment rooted in memories from a past life. He knew Zani's game. Every move she made was calculated for her own gain. Joining his agency? Just a stepping stone for her ambitions. Songguk's vision for his company was clear. A tight-knit team of loyal allies, not opportunists like her. Pointing at Zani, he declared, You're not family. Zani's forced smile faltered, her eyes widening in surprise. Before she could muster a reply, So-Yang returned, cradling a still whimpering Minguk. Realizing her plan had hit a wall, Zani sighed, conceding defeat. Fine, she said, sliding the Samjin documents across the table. If you change your mind, Songguk, these are for you. She donned her cap and sunglasses, flashed a polite smile, and bid them farewell with a wave. Catch you later unless we're playing hide-and-seek, then you're on your own, she quipped, slipping out the door. So-Yang and Songguk watched her vanish down the street. Songguk, arms crossed and cheeks puffed out in thought, suddenly flinched as his mother's voice cut through. You naughty rascal, So-Yang scolded, her tone shifting to full mom mode. That tantrum was ridiculous. Before she could lecture further, Songguk grabbed the Samjin documents and thrust them into her hands. So-Yang tore open the cover, her eyes scanning the pages. Wait a minute, she gasped. This is an ad proposal for Namjoon Company's new gadget starring you, Songguk. The next morning, Songguk, So-Yang, and little Minguk arrived at the shoot location, a stunning spot that left So-Yang breathless. This place is prettier than a postcard, she exclaimed. Director Yanha greeted them with a beaming smile, and Songguk and Soyang returned his warmth with equal enthusiasm. Janha knelt to Songguk's level, grinning. "You've grown into quite the handsome star." Songguk's cheeks turned pink, and he stood a bit taller, basking in the praise. "Guess I'm the full package now, looks and charm," he said with a playful wink. Just then, a sleek car rolled up. The driver leaned back to inform the passengers they'd arrived. In the back seat, Jae Hang, Samjun's chairman, peered out the window, eyeing Songguk as the ideal face for their campaign. Beside him sat his father, John Justin, the Samjin Group's chairman and Songguk's grandfather from his past life. Jae Hang stepped out first, then offered a hand to Justin, who adjusted his tie with a sly smirk. "Don't treat me like I'm ancient," Justin huffed. Jae Hang pushed up his glasses, chuckling. "Just keeping you steady, Dad. Wouldn't want you tripping over your own ego." Jae Hang and Justin turned their focus to Ram, the young star at the center of their campaign. Justin, raising an eyebrow, questioned his son, "Why bet on a kid for our ad? Samjun's always gone for sleek, sophisticated vibes." "Times change, Dad. We need ads that feel fresh and relatable." Justin's face tightened, a hint of irritation flashing. "So, my old school ways are outdated now, huh?" He spun away, grumbling, "Do whatever you want, Mr. Confident. But a child? Really?" Jae Hyang smirked. "It's a long-term play, Dad. Trust me." Justin scoffed, clearly skeptical. "A kid as an investment? You've lost it." Jae Hyang chuckled. "Lost it? Nah, I'm just ahead of the curve, unlike your ancient flip phone." Jae Hang's mind drifted to a recent chat with Zami. She'd pitched joining Ram's agency, calling it a smart move. "The industry's shifting," she'd said. "People want friendly, approachable faces. Ram's perfect for that, a goldmine for the future." Back in the moment, Justin spotted Ram flipping through a script, his young face focused. Justin's doubts softened, and he muttered, "Not bad for a kid. If only he were your son, Jay. My grandkids could learn a thing or two." Ram, engrossed, scratched his ear, wondering, "Is someone gossiping about me? Or is this script just that itchy?" Ram studied the ad's story linear commercial for Samjun's new vacuum cleaner. He grinned, certain this role would cement his value and steer the company's future. But his moment of confidence shattered when someone shouted his name. Spinning around, startled, he saw a pack of K-pop idols charging toward him like overexcited fans. To his surprise, they zoomed past, swarming Soyang and his little brother instead. Only Tae, the blonde-haired idol, paused to greet Ram. "Yo, how's it hanging?" Tae asked, flashing a grin. Ram, cheeks pink, mumbled, "Pretty good, thanks." He couldn't help but notice the idol's glowing energy, like they'd just chugged a gallon of sunshine. "Thanks to you, Ram," Tae said. "Our song you picked Itha's been #1 for 30 weeks. Soyang's eyes widened. "Really?" she asked, and the idols nodded eagerly. Ram, flustered but proud, quipped, "Guess I'm the secret sauce behind your chart-topping stew." Pointing at the idols with a mock-serious glare, Ram said, "Time to pay up for my genius." Tae laughed, scooping Ram off the ground. "Name your price, little boss." Just then, director Jan Ha clapped his hands, rallying everyone. "Let's roll, folks. The set's ready." Tae marveled at the dazzling setup, muttering, "This place looks like it's ready for its close-up." The assistant director waved the idols over, and they hustled to her side. Ram, scanning the crowd, frowned. "Where's Michael?" The idols exchanged awkward glances, as if they'd been dreading the question. So-Yang, too, realized she hadn't seen Michael all day. Tae knelt down, his voice soft. "Ram, Michael," he left the group. Ram's jaw dropped, his voice rising. "Left? Why?" Tae, stepping back, stammered. He just decided to go. He explained that after Ram called Michael out for a mistake, Michael got upset and left the country. Ram stood frozen, reeling. In his past life, Michael never quit the group, sticking it out despite later drama. This change hit hard. Could Ram's actions really rewrite the future? As he wrestled with the thought, a loud shout snapped him back. Two idols, June and Lucas, were squaring off, the assistant director struggling to calm them. June, shoving her aside, grabbed Lucas's jacket, fuming. "You think you're better than me because I can't act?" Lucas, staying cool, said, "I'm just frustrated with your attitude, man." June's temper flared, yelling, "Oh yeah? Let's see you try." The assistant director, exasperated, snapped, "If you hate Lucas's acting, Jae Hyang, do it yourself." Jae Hang, eyes narrowed, grabbed the vacuum cleaner and launched into a painfully awkward, charming performance, all stiff gestures and forced smiles. The assistant director cringed, muttering, "Oof, stick to singing." Ram shook his head, embarrassed for Jae Hyang. The guy was a stage legend with a heart of gold, but acting? Not his jam. Lucas, on the other hand, was a natural blunt. Not your typical idol look, but a pro in front of the camera. Ram tugged Jae Hyang's sleeve. "Let Lucas try it." Jae Hyang, smirking, agreed, hoping Lucas would flop. Lucas hesitated, nerves kicking in, but Ram flashed a thumbs up. "You got this, man. Show 'em!" Clearing his throat, Lucas took a deep breath, grabbed the vacuum, and transformed. His performance was smooth, captivating, perfect. The assistant director cheered, "That's the one!" Lucas blushed, his cheeks as red as a stoplight. "Guess I'm the vacuum king now," he joked shyly. Jae Hyang, stunned, forgot his earlier anger and slung an arm around Lucas. "That was killer, man. You're the lead." Ram grinned wide, thrilled to see them patch things up. In his past life, Jae Hyang and Lucas drifted apart, chasing solo careers and staying distant. Now they were like brothers, laughing together. Ram realized he was changing things. Big events still echoed his past life, but he could nudge the details. The shoot rolled on until dusk, leaving Ram exhausted, dozing in So-Yang's arm. As they prepared to leave, footsteps rushed toward them. So-Yang jumped, then relaxed, seeing Zami approaching with a bright smile. "Need a lift?" Zami offered, gesturing to her car. "I've got you covered." Minutes later, they pulled up to a grand restaurant, where two women waited to greet them. Zami winked. "Booked us a private room." Ram's eyes lit up. He knew this place. It was his favorite from his past life. "Zami, you're officially my VIP driver," he teased, earning a laugh as they headed inside. The group settled into the cozy restaurant, renowned for its mouth-watering black bean noodles. After freshening up, they gathered around a polished wooden table, digging into their steaming plates. Songguk's mind wandered to his past life, when he'd sneak here alone, savoring every bite in secret. Now back in this life, his eyes glistened with nostalgia, and his stomach growled in anticipation. He dove into the noodles with gusto, barely pausing to breathe. So-Yang, glancing at the fancy dishes, whispered, "These look pricier than a celebrity haircut." Zami, catching her concern, waved it off with a grin. "Don't sweat the bill, So-Yang. It's my treat. Consider it my audition for the agency." She leaned in, her tone playful yet earnest. And to sweeten the deal, I've already handled that mess with President Shin-sung-young. Zami dished the dirt. Shin-sung had spread nasty rumors about her and the vice president, so they'd given him a taste of his own medicine. Let's just say he's not gossiping anymore unless it's about his new humility, she quipped, winking. Songguk, polishing off his plate, let out a thunderous burp that echoed through the room. Everyone laughed, and he seized the moment to declare, "All right, Zami, you're in. You can join the agency." Zami's jaw dropped, and she sprang from her chair. "For real, Songguk? You mean it?" Her excitement was palpable, but Songguk's choice wasn't just a whim. He'd learned the future could shift, and maybe, just maybe, giving Zami a shot could change her for the better. Who knows, he thought. Maybe she'll trade her sneaky side for some noodle-level loyalty. Still reeling, Zami turned to Soyang, her eyes pleading. "Please, Soyang, let me prove myself. I'll work harder than a chef during lunch rush." Soyang smiled softly but held firm. "I'll need to talk it over with my husband first. We'll make the call together." Later that night, back at their house, Soyang laid out the whole story to Ji-sing. He listened quietly, his brow furrowed in thought. After a long pause, he shook his head. "I'm not sold on Zami joining us," he said firmly. "Something about her feels like a recipe for trouble, and I'm not talking about her cooking." Caught off guard by Ji-sing's stance, Soyang tilted her head and asked, "Why are you against Zami joining us?" Ji-sing's voice was sharp but steady. "We don't even have an office or staff to call ourselves a real agency." Songguk mulled over his dad's words, nodding slowly as the truth sank in. SKJ was basically a one-man show, with their manager juggling everything. Even with Songguk pitching in on HR and planning, they still needed someone to handle the finances. Arms crossed, eyes shut, Songguk sank into thought. Then bam! His eyes popped open with a spark of genius. He bolted out of the room, leaving Soyang and Ji-sing exchanging puzzled glances. "What's he cooking up now? A plan, or just a snack run?" Soyang quipped, chuckling. Ji-sing turned to the landlady, explaining they needed to hire staff, starting with an accountant to keep the books in check. A minute later, Songguk zoomed back in, clutching a worn copy of Basic Accounting Principles. Soyang's face flushed crimson as she recognized her old book and snatched it from him. "Where'd you dig up this relic?" she muttered, embarrassed. The landlady raised an eyebrow, asking if Soyang studied accounting. "Well, yeah," Soyang admitted, her cheeks glowing brighter than a stoplight. "I graduated from a commercial high school, but I never thought I had enough experience to jump back in." Songguk flashed a huge, encouraging grin. "Mom, you've got this. Experience is just a fancy word for you'll figure it out." Soyang's eyes welled up, touched by his faith. Inside, Songguk's confidence soared. He'd found the perfect accountant, someone he trusted completely. "Mom's gonna balance our books like a pro juggler," he thought, smirking. The landlady and Ji-sing nodded in agreement, fully on board with Soyang taking the role. Overwhelmed, Soyang beamed, promising, "I'll give it my all." The landlady, grinning, mentioned the unit upstairs was free. "Set up your office there. Rent's on me, I own the building." Songguk let out a triumphant whoop. Team SKJ's gonna make it big. The next day, Zami strolled in, balancing a massive watermelon like a trophy. "Heard about the new office," she said, scanning the tidy desks and supplies. Very sleek, small but efficient-toon like Shin-sung-young's gaudy setup. She winked, adding, fancy offices are like overpriced coffee, looks nice, tastes meh. She pulled out a newspaper, pointing to an article about her move to SKJ. So-Yang's eyes widened. Already in print? Zami blushed lightly. Yup, no backing out now, right? Downstairs, Songguk was reading a story to his little brother when Zami poked her head in. Her heart melted at the sight, but Songguk's annoyance flared. Why was she butting into his family time? His brother, giggling, wriggled out of his arms, crawled around like a playful caterpillar, then clambered back, clutching Songguk's shirt. Zami clapped her hands, laughing. This kid's already CEO material. Sign him up. She announced Vice Chairman Jae Hyang's son, John, was throwing his 10th birthday bash at the Sanjin Hotel on July 8th. Songguk's mood soured. John, his brother in his past life, was a reckless pest. As he grimaced, his current brother poked his cheek, giggling. Songguk softened, grateful this brother was nothing like John. At least you're not throwing tantrums over cake flavors, he muttered, tickling the toddler. That night, as the family slept, the phone's shrill ring jolted So-Yang awake. Half asleep, she grabbed it, her loud chatter rousing Songguk. He rubbed his eyes, slid the door open, and eavesdropped. The call revealed John's party was postponed indefinitely. Curious if something big had happened, Songguk flipped on the TV. A news anchor's voice filled the room. Korea's supreme leader, Kim, had died. So-Yang and Ji-Sing, now awake, joined him, staring in shock as the anchor reported a sudden heart attack. In Songguk's past life, Kim's death threw the government into chaos, derailing a peace deal with North Korea. Fears of war spiked, with the US, China, and Japan on edge, while North Korea spiraled into turmoil. Some even saw hope for unification. Songguk knew instability loomed, so John's party cancellation made sense. No party when the world's throwing a bigger tantrum, he thought wryly. Ji-Sing's voice broke through, alarm. The stock market's crashing. So-Yang blinked. Since when do you know stocks? Ji-Sing scratched his head, sheepish. Been dabbling since we got those Samsung shares. Songguk, eyes gleaming, tugged his dad's arm. Buy stocks now, Dad. Defend stocks, quick! In his past life, the Kospi Index tanked as panic sellers dumped shares, terrified of war. For Songguk, this was a golden chance to snap up stocks cheap. Ji-Sing, baffled by his son's sudden Wall Street fever, hesitated. Songguk flopped dramatically onto the floor. I'm not eating till you buy. So-Yang frowned, worried. He's serious, Ji-Sing. He'll starve before he budges. Ji-Sing whispered, let's pretend to buy to calm him down. Songguk, sharp as ever, shot back, don't play me, Dad. I'm more stubborn than a Wi-Fi signal that won't connect. Stumped by Songguk's stubbornness, Ji-Sing sighed, will one share do the trick? Songguk nodded, a grin creeping across his face. Ji-Sing flopped onto the floor, his eyes burning with determination. I'll keep this family safe no matter what, he vowed, looking like he'd just sworn to fend off a dragon. A few days later, the Sanjin Hotel buzzed with John's rescheduled birthday bash, decked out with vibrant decorations. Songguk, So-Yang, the landlady, and his little brother stepped into a grand hall, soft music swirling around them. So-Yang's jaw dropped. All this for a 10-year-old? This party's fancier than my wedding. Songguk, unimpressed, shrugged. In his past life, his own 10th birthday was a spectacle that made this look like a backyard barbecue. So-Yang nudged him. Shall we head in? Songguk mumbled. Yeah, sure, leading the way, catching snippets of guests whispering about war fears after the chairman's death. War talk at a kid's party? That's a new one, he muttered. Secretary Yang approached with a young boy, shaking So-Yang's hand warmly. Been waiting for you guys, he said, beaming. The boy introduced himself as Cheol-Soo, and Song-Guk's heart skipped. He knew him from his past life, a dear friend. With a polite smile, Song-Guk shook his hand. Nice grip, Cheol-Soo, future handshake champion, he teased. Cheol-Soo grinned, leading Song-Guk to the party's heart, and Song-Guk followed without hesitation. Suddenly, a flash of long hair zipped by, freezing Song-Guk in his tracks. John Hai, he blurted, recognizing his first love from his past life. Cheol-Soo raised an eyebrow. How do you know her? Song-Guk, cheeks pink, stammered, saw her face somewhere, maybe a cereal box? In truth, John Hai was the woman he'd dreamed of marrying, but her father's company tanked during the IMF crisis. Song-Guk's dad offered Idif. She dumped Song-Guk. She did, and he'd felt betrayed, thinking it was about money. Now, he understood she was saving her family. Shaking off the memory, Song-Guk took a step only to trip, crashing to the floor with a thud. So-Yang gasped, rushing over. Song-Guk, you okay? Secretary Yang knelt, checking on him. Nursing a scraped chin, Song-Guk glared up, spotting John, the birthday boy, and his past-life brother, smirking with crossed arms. John scoffed. Nothing special about him. Dad's wrong, he doesn't belong here. Song-Guk, fuming, sprang up and landed a solid punch on his face. So-Yang and Yang shouted, "Stop!" So-Yang grabbed Song-Guk, demanding, "Why'd you hit him?" Pointing at John, Song-Guk snapped, "He tripped me on purpose!" Yang, helping John up, asked if it was true. John, red-faced, yelled, "He's lying!" But Cheol-Soo, who'd seen it all, spoke up. John tripped him. John turned on Cheol-Soo, furious. So-Yang tried calming Song-Guk. "You can't fight back, no matter what." Song-Guk, still heated, shouted he had it coming. From his past life, he knew John was a spoiled bully, backed by his rich dad. This time, Song-Guk was determined to put him in his place. No one's bullying me, not even a kid with a birthday crown, he thought. Yang sternly told John, "Cut it out, or your dad won't be happy." Song-Guk noticed John's face shift at the mention of his father still scared of him, even in this life. So-Yang wrapped Song-Guk in a warm hug, checking his scraped knee. "Need some ointment, champ?" John overheard, tugging Yang's sleeve. "When's Mom coming?" Yang softened. "She's tied up at work, but she'll be here soon." Feeling ignored, John's eyes welled up, and he wailed, "I hate this party! I'm alone!" Yang guided him to a table, trying to soothe him. So-Yang, sitting nearby with Song-Guk's family, sighed. Poor kid, alone on his birthday. The landlady nodded. His parents should have shown up. Song-Guk, knowing the truth from his past life, wasn't sympathetic. John's mum was obsessed with his politician grandfather, and his dad was too busy with business deals to care about birthdays. Back then, Song-Guk loved the lavish parties, hobnobbing with elites, but John craved his parents' love. Now, seeing John sob, Song-Guk just felt annoyed. "Crying won't fix bad parenting," he muttered. Yang grabbed a microphone, thanking the guests and signaling the food service. "Time for a special treat," he announced, inviting the idols to perform. Song-Guk froze mid-bite, stunned to see them. Cheol-Soo went nuts, cheering like he'd won the lottery. The three idols grabbed their mics and started singing. The women in the crowd swooned, but Songguk cringed. "This is cheesier than a pizza buffet," he whispered. Yang, relieved, exhaled order restore. But Songguk's eyes drifted to John, still alone, trembling with tears. His anger flared at John's absent parents. Minutes later, they arrived, pausing the party as guests greeted them respectfully. Jae-hyang spotted Songguk, grinning. "Glad you made it." His wife glanced at Songguk, asking, "This the kid you mentioned?" With a cool tone she added, "He's kinda cute." Songguk bristled. She was as frosty as he remembered from his past life. John, tears stopping, tried getting her attention, but she brushed him off. "Don't make a scene." Their family felt like an icebox, all wealth and no warmth. Songguk, grateful for his own loving family, thought, "I'd take Mom's hugs over a fancy hotel any day." Fast forward to summer 1995. Songguk, now 5, lay in a hospital bed, lost in a deep coma. That's a wrap for today's recap.